The cat. You see it every day. It's a soft, purring weight on your lap, a quiet shadow on the edge of your sofa. For most, it's a companion, a roommate, a family member. But look into those eyes. The vertical pupils, the unblinking stare. That's not a pet. That's a highly tuned killing machine that's negotiated a lease on your living room. We like to think we domesticated the cat. We think we brought them in from the cold and gave them a name. But the truth is more calculated. Cats weren't tamed by us. They chose us. They didn't surrender their wildness, they just traded it for a steady supply of kibble and a heated floor. It wasn't a domestication, it was a hostile takeover disguised as a cuddle. 10,000 years ago, you weren't a house pet. You were Felis libica, the Near Eastern wildcat. You live in the Fertile Crescent, a world of dust, scrub, and silence. You are solitary. Your survival depends on your ability to be invisible. Your skeleton is a masterpiece of engineering, designed for the explosive release of energy. Your ears can hear the high-pitched ultrasonic squeak of a mouse from 60 feet away. In the wild, life is a high-stakes game of calories. You hunt, you kill, you eat, you hide. There is no safety. There is only the next hunt. You are the master of the shadows, but even the master sleeps with one eye open. You are a predator, yes, but you are small enough to be prey. Every day is a cycle of hypervigilance and sudden violent action. This is the baseline. This is the natural state your cat still carries in its DNA. Then, something changes. Humans stop wandering. They start planting. They build storehouses for grain, and where there is grain, there are rodents. Thousands of them. For the wildcat, this is the onset, a sudden, massive surge of opportunity. The human settlements become a buffet. You realize that if you stay near these loud, upright apes, you don't have to wander the desert for days to find a meal. The mice are right here, but there's a catch. To get to the mice, you have to tolerate the humans. Most wildcats flee. They can't handle the noise, the smell, the proximity, but a few, the ones with a slightly lower adrenaline response, the ones with a glitch in their fear circuitry, stay. These are the ancestors of the cat on your bed. They didn't love humans. They just hated hunger less than they feared us. It was a cold, biological calculation. By the time we get to ancient Egypt, the relationship hits its peak. This is the euphoria phase. The humans have realized your value. You aren't just an animal anymore. You're an insurance policy for their food supply. You protect the grain, which means you protect the civilization. Suddenly, the wildcat is elevated. You aren't just tolerated, you are worshipped. In Egypt, killing a cat is a capital crime. When a family cat dies, the owners shave their eyebrows in mourning. You are dressed in gold. You are mummified. You are Bastet, the goddess of home, fertility, and protection. The cat has successfully hacked the human brain. You've traded your labor, catching mice, for a status that borders on the divine. You sit in the temples, fed by hand, watching the world with that same unblinking stare. You've realized that being a god is much easier than being a hunter. This is the peak of the contract. The world feels safe, controlled, and worshipful, but every high has a come down. In the Middle Ages, the peak turns into a nightmare. The religious landscape shifts. The same independence that made you a god now makes you a demon. Your nighttime prowling is no longer divine protection, it's witchcraft. The unblinking eyes are now the eyes of a familiar. This is the crash. Across Europe, cats are hunted. They are burned. They are thrown from towers. The human-cat bond fractures into paranoia and cruelty, and the world pays the price. With the cats gone, the rodent populations explode. The fleas on those rodents carry the Yersinia pestis bacteria. The Black Death arrives. It's a brutal reminder of the silent contract. When the cat is removed from the equation, the human world falls apart. We needed the predator to survive, but we were too afraid of the shadow to realize it. Today, the relationship has stabilized into something quiet, familiar, and deceptively soft. The cat has moved from the grain store to the temple, to the gutter, and finally, to the sofa. We've bred them to be smaller, to have rounder faces, to sound more like human babies when they cry. We've turned their predatory instincts into zoomies, and their territorial marking into kneading. But don't be fooled. The crash of the wild hasn't been erased. It's just been managed. When your cat stares at a blank wall at 3 a.m., they aren't seeing ghosts. They are hearing the ultrasonic world we are deaf to. When they play with a feather on a string, they aren't having fun. They are practicing the lethal neck snap that kept their ancestors alive in the Fertile Crescent.